What is up, guys? This is Weasel for PokerVIP.com in association with William Hill Poker. We're going to be playing our first session of a series of 4 sessions at the 6+ Hold'em tables. Just going to be talking about some basic strategy, see if we can take some money off the weaker players in these games. So we're going to be playing 4 tables of 4 NL, 6+ Hold'em. Let's see if we can instill some of the basic principles we need for success. I think one of the first things is understanding which hands are good in 6+ Hold'em compared to no limit Hold'em. And when we think about the types of hands we want to try and make in this game, so remember, a flush is pretty much one of the strongest hands we can make. Straights are still good as well, as we can see on table 4. But generally speaking, suited hands are going to be a lot stronger than their offsuit counterparts in this game. So we're going to show a strong tendency towards playing. So in this spot, actually, on table 4, I don't have a super good feeling about this. Going to make a pretty tight fold here with a flop straight. We'll see how the hand progresses. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy has a set, given that he overbets. So anyway, suited hands are very good. Also, pocket pairs are very strong as well, because, you know, if you flop, for example, pocket queens on the queen 9-8 two-tone board, like we've just seen, then you pretty much have the nuts. Something about his bet sizing here tells me that he has a set, so I decided to hero fold a straight. We'll see how accurate that assumption is. Somewhat small bet on the river, doesn't fully make sense. And he actually has the 10-jack, so he would have split, but the thing is, it's going to be quite difficult to actually cool down that hand on a turn and river. If he hadn't overbet the flop, I obviously would not fold. I may even raise my straight, but I think some of the principles can translate from one variant to the other. One thing that's important as well in 6+ is that we nearly always get the right price to set mine in a whole variety of situations. So here, when this guy makes a re-raise, we're obviously going to play our 9s. Could lead, although the hand's not super vulnerable. Remember, it doesn't matter if someone actually sucks out and makes a straight because they're not sucking out anymore. So it's really a case of we're ahead or we're way behind something like a higher set. Now, given he bets 1/3 pot, I'm actually going to go in for a raise here. Also notice the guy that initially bet doesn't have a very deep stack, so we should be pretty happy to get the money in this case. So pocket pairs are very good. So on table 1, we're going to play our pocket pair. 8s, I guess we could just bet as a bluff to see if this guy's interested in the pot. He did check back the flop. If he calls, we'll just give up. 7s, I may bet for the same reason here. Although it's, you know, it would be a bet, for example, in no limit Hold'em. Not sure if we actually have to bet in 6+ actually. Now, one of the things we'll find is that even though stuff like King Jack offsuit isn't open on the button, we don't need to open anywhere near as wide as we would in 6 max no limit Hold'em, in the regular version. So I think I will go for a delayed bet now just because we pick up the straight draw with the 7s. Probably has some fold equity as well, given how he's played the hand. I'm just going to give up on this river. We can't really call a 3-bet with the King Jack. So this is actually a pretty weak hand. It's going to be close to the bottom of our button opening range in the 6+ Hold'em games. So King Jack offsuit's a pretty good open in regular Hold'em. On the button, we'd obviously open a lot wider. We'd open some offsuit kings, etc. But in 6+ Hold'em, King Jack is literally going to be one of the weakest hands we open on the button. We will actually open King 10 offsuit, and that's it. So we're not going to open stuff like offsuit aces on the button. We're not going to open, you know, offsuit kings either. And this guy makes a huge open. And again, King Queen, very good hand to defend in no limit Hold'em. Not so good here in this case. Because King Queen suited, maybe we defend. So basically, the types of hands we want to play are those which can make sets and full houses, and those that can make flushes. So suited hands are going to go up way in value in this case, and pocket pairs are going to be pretty decent holdings as well in 6+ Hold'em. But you'll find stuff like Ace Queen, Ace Jack offsuit, Ace 10 offsuit. These are good hands in regular Hold'em, but they're actually not so great hands in 6+ Hold'em. So in regular Hold'em, we'd maybe open any ace on the button, for example, as part of our raise first in range. Whereas in 6+, the weakest ace we're probably going to open is Ace 10 offsuit or something. So something like 7-8 of diamonds, this is almost playable from any position. Because it can make the flush, it can make straights as well. We're not super excited about making straights in this game. Straights are kind of like mid-strength made hands, which is why You actually saw me fold straight a bit earlier against the overbet. So we do play king queen on the button, and I certainly don't want to do more than min raise here because the small blind is re-raising somewhat aggressively. So we're obviously going to call the 3-bet here with the 7-8. It's an okay flop, not super great or anything. Obviously going to call a king queen due to the price we get. Queen 10 offsuit, we don't need to defend that blind here against a cutoff open. Again, I think I'm going to put out a small bet for protection. We have a pair, we have the straight draw, might be the best hand. And we have the backdoor flush, and I think that may even be the most important component. Backdoor flushes are very good in this game. Because unless he has a better diamond draw, we're actually drawing to the nuts in this case. So I think it's probably good to go ahead and bluff the turn with most flush draws. So this is a bluff despite the fact that we have a pair. And really hoping for some fold equity. I've had good success with barreling flush draws so far in this game. Seems to work a lot. Okay, river the ace. We should obviously value bet because basically unless this guy specifically has... I mean, there aren't really that many combos when you think about it. I guess he could have queen 10, king queen, king 10. Not too much else. I guess it's like king 6. I mean, there's a very good chance we have the best hand here. And this guy could literally be as strong as having a full house, for example. So it's mandatory to put a value bet out here. So this is one of the hands where, you know, this wouldn't be a great hand if we were playing no limit hold'em, but it's a pretty good hand at 6+. He raises, which is unfortunate. You know, there's a chance he does have stuff like king 10 of diamonds now, which is a shame, but I don't think we can fold this combo. Just have to hope he's overplaying something like a full house. But I wouldn't re-raise or anything at that point. Ace 10 from MP. This is just going to be about an open. To remember, suited aces are very good in this game. So I would open suited aces from anywhere. Even UTG, I would open every suited ace. They are some of the best hands in 6+ hold'em. Because you can make the nut flush, and the nut flush is actually the nuts, even if the board's paired, etc. 10-7, I think, could bet. I'm probably just going to check down. I'm going to fold the ace 10 here because of the stack size. I don't think we have the right implied odds to make it profitable. And, you know, if we ignore the flush draw, like the fact that we have ace 10 of clubs, then our hand is not that great, because if we flop an ace or a 10, that's just not very good in 6+ hold'em. Like, one pair hands, not very good. So it doesn't matter too much if we've got ace high. You know, ace high hands are going to be a lot more common anyway when we're playing 6+. One thing you'll see me do as well is you may have noticed I just overlimped the 10 jack, which, you know, might seem a little bit fishy. But there's a lot to be said for just seeing a lot of flops at the moment, trying to make some nutted hands, and then getting the stacks in. Because players are going to be making big mistakes. I mean, they're going to be doing stuff like you've seen that guy just do, which was, you know, to check raise a full house when there's a possible flush completed. Which, you know, is obviously good in regular hold'em. I'm not sure if I can actually bet here. I'm going to put out a small protection bet. So yeah, it's obviously good in regular hold'em, but it's pretty bad in 6+ hold'em to do stuff like this. Kings should usually be strong enough to stack off still. Notice as well, if we have a full house and there's no possible flush, we still have the nuts. So the only thing I lose to is one combo of jacks right now, and that's it. So basically, should be value betting here, and there's, you know, worse full houses people can have. I think normally you should still stack off with kings, button versus cutoff, but it's not the same as no limit hold'em. We're not super excited about this. It's kind of like he's gonna have aces a lot more. But you know, this is obviously very good for us if he wants to stack off queens. Now that's one thing you're gonna notice as well is guys are basically stacking off with similar range to what they stack off in no limit hold'em, which you can't do anymore, because if you stack off with the same range in late position that you do in no limit hold'em, you are literally going to be stacking off twice as frequently. So, you know, where something like kings is just like a fist pump get all in, it's actually a little bit closer. It's like stacking off with queens or jacks in regular no limit hold'em. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that by the time you start getting to hands like jacks in late position, okay, that's going to be close in most lower limit regular hold'em games. So if you start trying to stack that hand off when you're playing 6+ hold'em, you're going to be getting the worst of it the majority of the time. Something like queen should still be an ISO. And we mentioned one pair hands are really not very good in this game. However, we do want to bet for protection in some cases, and I'm going to do that right now. Straight draws. Now, we do hit straight draws very, very frequently, but they're not really as good, especially, I don't think we have the right stack depth to actually continue here. So it's not purely about pot odds. We have to remember that most straight draws are going to suffer from a great deal of reverse implied, so we have to be a little bit careful with those holdings. There's a chance I should still call that OESD combo. I'm not 100% sure. And this guy raises, so he probably has a set. We just get out of the way, that's fine. So spots like this, similar to how I play in regular Hold'em, like I'm not going to fold this King 6 suited. I can't ISO, it's too weak, so I'm just going to tag along for the ride against some weaker players, see if we can make a flush. And I'm probably even going to leave this board texture because we have top pair, and again we have a flush draw. Flush draw, very, very good hands in this game. Some of the best hands you can have. I would normally double barrel. I don't know whether it's actually worth double barreling against both guys. When the ace hits, there's a pretty good chance someone has a straight. Even though I think no one has a set, which is obviously better than a straight, I don't think I'll get as much folds against two players. But against one guy, I would definitely just barrel, turn the hand into a bluff, etc. Now I'm just going to check for showdown value. I don't think I'll win this pot very often. I think less than 5%, but I do have a pair, so it's possible these guys both have 10 jack or something. And I'm just going to give up. Didn't make the flush. That's fine. No problem. $10-9 of diamonds, pretty good hand. I would play this from any position as well in 6+ Hold'em. Make the flushes and the straights. Whether we want to ISO, I would say normally yes, but no in this case because we've got two short stackers at the table. So the original limper from MP is short stacked, the guy in the big blind is short stacked. We don't really want to get raised when we have this kind of stack depth. So ace queen. Now obviously we would normally ISO raise this hand in regular Hold'em, but it's probably not going to be strong enough in 6+ to make a raise against this many players. I think, especially 5-way, even putting a small protection bet out here is a little bit thin actually. This is nowhere near as good as it would be in no limit Hold'em. I'll put a lead out there anyway because I have the backdoor flush, which again is way more important in this game than it is in no limit Hold'em. I actually have a straight draw as well, and I may have the best hand with my ace queen, although, given that everyone has at least 2 cards higher than a 6, then there's a pretty good chance that we don't even have the best hand with ace queen. But I think, given that we also have the backdoor straight as well, and given the fact that we have the backdoor flush, the hand should be just about strong enough to bet, even 5-way in this case. And if we do end up taking it down, that's actually a very good outcome as well. Like, it's not really a value bet, it's more of a protection bet with some backdoor potential. So this is maybe even the best outcome if we take the hand down. Now, I've decided that I'm not going to open ace-king from MP. There is a chance that this hand isn't open, but I actually think stuff like king-10 suited is probably a bit better. So I've made the decision I'm actually going to fold ace-king in MP. That might be the wrong decision, but it's at least reasonable. One thing I know for certain is that I'm opening a good frequency in that spot. Whether that frequency should include ace-king offsuit is up for debate, but I don't think ace-king offsuit is anywhere near as good in 6+ Hold'em as it is in regular no-limit Hold'em. Obviously, it's a monster. So this is one spot here with the 8-10 that's a little bit different from regular Hold'em. Normally, my flush draw is worthless in regular Hold'em, but in 6+, if I spike my diamond, then I'm still winning against any ace or any king. Kind of interesting situation here. I actually chop against any king X now. I'm just going to check for showdown value. I'm not going to turn my hand into a bluff here or anything. And I think I'm just going to give him credit for having quads. It's the only thing you can really have, because every other hand basically plays board since, there's such a strong hand on the board here. So maybe I got bluffed, not sure. So again, with the OESD, not actually a super great spot here in this case. Number one, could be drawing dead already to a set. Number two, there's already 2 flush hearts out there. So again, I'm not valuing these hands very highly. Maybe there's a chance I'm slightly undervaluing them, but I think they're not as good as people might initially think. I would imagine people are going to be overplaying their straights a lot in this game. We're obviously going to call him in 3-bet with the ace queen of clubs. This is a pretty good hand in 6+. We flop the backdoor flush, which is great, although I think we kind of just have to check fold here. And I think 3-way, I'm going to call the king 9 in position as well. It's a small 3-bet. I am going to peel one off here on table 2 just because the sizing's small. And I think on that king, I'm pretty much giving up on the hand. It doesn't really improve me too much. I think king 9 of hearts, I'm going to give up as well, 4-way. Yeah, I'm just going to fold on both tables. Sometimes I wonder if I can just get away with a very small bluff here, stroke protection bet. I noticed everyone folded on this table before. And you know, I may even get called by like 8x or something. Or flush draws. Let's see how it works out. It might be a little bit too thin. That's a pretty good river card. No flush draws get there, no 8x gets there. So I'll just check back and hope that my 9's good somehow. No, he had the ace anyway, that's fine. It's okay for me to get called by those kind of hands quite a bit just because I'm betting so small. Obviously not trying to follow an ace. If I bet bigger on the turn, that would be a problem when he shows up with an ace. I'd be losing too much money. I think with the queen 9, folding should be fine, I think. Completing's definitely reasonable. I would definitely play the hand if it was no limit hold'em. Again, I do value these kind of hands in 6+, 7, 8 of diamonds, so I'm going to be playing. And suited king 9 is a pretty easy open on the button. I think as well, we're going to see a lot of these 4-way, 5-way pots, just because it's a very new variant. People don't really know when they should be folding pre-flop too much. Definitely going to bet here the king 9 with the backdoor flush. So what that means is, especially in these big bloated multi-way pots, we're going to be nut peddling quite a bit. We're really trying to make flushes or sets, you know, especially top set. Kind of a little bit like how we would value hands in pot limit Omaha, I guess, apart from the different hand rankings, obviously. So 10-9, I'm probably just going to fold against the 5x open. I would barrel a king 9 if I picked up a club, but I'm just going to give up on the ace of hearts. And probably I should incorporate a river bluffing range here, but I haven't done that yet for 6+, so I'm just going to check back and assume people aren't folding enough. But it's probably a spot where I should be bluffing, and I'm going to incorporate that into my game at some point. A6 might even be close to defend even against the 5x. I'm going to fold just because it's such a large sizing. And I think, remember as well, that A6 can make straights. I think that's going to be one of the most common things that players misread about this game. Is number one, they won't necessarily realize when there's a straight available. Because remember, in this game, you can make a straight with A6, 7, 8, 9. So number one, they're going to be missing when they have a straight themselves because they forget that the 6 follows on from their ace. Might be missing when their opponents can maybe make straights as well. So, reasonably okay combo draw. I guess I will lead as a bluff, but I don't think bluffing's that important when we find ourselves in 4-way or 5-way pots, so I'm mostly just going to play straightforward. Jacks, we should obviously set mine here, so remember that in no limit hold'em, we're going to have around 12% chance to hit a set, whereas in 6+, we have about 18% chance to hit a set on the flop, so set mining becomes a little bit more profitable. The other thing as well is if we do flop a set, it actually beats straights, so pocket pairs are very strong hands in this game. Ace-10 should be good enough for an open, UTG. 8-9, again, we didn't pick up our backdoor spades. Jacks, we missed a flop, and this guy's raising. Probably has a queen, so we just give up. Here, I don't think I'm going to continue to bluff. We have some outs, could obviously spike a 5 or a 10 on the river. But again, straights are not that good. So one thing we have to be careful is not to overvalue straights too much. Ace 10, I think this should be an okay combo to check call. Protect some of our checks, although it's not super important at these early stages of the game. Queen Jack should just about be strong enough to open UTG. Actually, I think this is not actually a UTG open. I think I have suited aces, pocket pairs, 9, 10, Jack 10 suited. Actually should be a fold in that case. But I don't think it would be a terrible open. It's going to be a little bit like stuff like 7, 8 suited from UTG and no limit hold'em. Okay, a lot of guys don't open it. Or maybe something like 10, 8 suited. A lot of guys don't open it, but it doesn't mean it's a bad open. It just means that if we did open it, we'd start opening too frequently. So in that kind of situation, we have to choose between suited aces or suited broadways. So if I wanted to open Queen Jack, I'd have to start folding something like Ace 9 suited, for example. Okay, again, we don't pick up the backdoor flush. He double barrels, top pairs, not very good. No limit hold'em would obviously call twice and 6+. We just fold. So King 10 offsuit, we spoke about this earlier. This is the absolute bottom of our button opening range now in 6+. King 9 offsuit's too weak to open. So whatever we play in no limit hold'em, we have to play tighter in 6+. Not a great flop. Just going to check back. If they both check again, I would be surprised if anyone had anything, although they could have a flush draw or something. I'll just pet out small semi-bluff here with the OESD. 8s is still going to be a raise from UTG, but I'm not going to open 6s or 7s from UTG. Okay, we pick up the straight. And I don't think we should value bet, actually. We don't beat a 7x. And I don't think he's going to pay off with worse. He probably has a bunch of busted flush draws, for example. Probably has like ace queen with the ace of clubs or something. Okay, this guy shoves all in. We don't have a heart, so we don't know if he's crazy. That's, I guess, one thing about this game, which is either an advantage or a disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. We don't have a heart. It hasn't been configured to run with 6+ hold'em yet. So that's not just my setup, by the way. I don't think anyone's hard. You can see that Hold'em Manager 2 is detecting the table. It says waiting for hands, but it's not going to take any hands from the table, as far as I know, because 6+ is not supported by the hard at this stage. So we set mine with the 8s. We missed the flop, so we just give up. He does make it super small, but I don't think it's going to be worth defending in that case. So notice how there's just so much pre-flop open limping going on at the moment. This is why we should be able to make money. And you know, I have a pretty good idea of what my open raising ranges are, for example, and I can basically guarantee that I'm probably the only one that's really thought about what the opening strategy should be even. So something like a6 offsuit, not a great hand, so we'd obviously ISO this in no limit, but I think we can just fold it in 6+. I'm assuming most of the people watching this video come from a no limit hold'em background. That could be wrong. Maybe some of you have never played no limit hold'em, so some of the analogies might not make too much sense. But the idea here is, if we're no limit hold'em players, we're not completely new to this game. If we can understand where the similarities and differences are between 6+ and regular hold'em, we can transfer some of those skills over from one variant to the other, and that's going to accelerate our learning progress. Actually, the 10 line of diamonds, the ISO is a bit big here because there's two short guys behind, so should have probably ISO to like 12. You can see I'm being punished for that now. Not that he's doing it intentionally, probably. He probably actually just has something, but this is not how the hand should have gone. I should have maybe made it 12, then there's going to be a better SPR for post-flop play. So always check who's behind you. Ace-8 clubs, very good hand, but not against these sizings. I think just because of his sizing I have to call, but it's very borderline where this is going to be plus EV. And to be honest, there's a pretty good chance he has Queen's Plus in this case, so I should really just try and get the money in. And I think based on the way the stack size is set up, I should just ship the flop. He's going to have hands with equity against me, so there's a pretty decent chance I get a call. If he folds, not a big problem as well, because he's definitely folding some equity share. Ace-Jack should be strong enough to go for an ISO here. Suited aces, these are some of the hands we really like. Whereas offsuit hands really go down in value in this variant. So, you know, ace-8 offsuit in the cutoff. I know some guys open this in no limit hold'em. I don't actually even open this in no limit hold'em. You know, the regular hold'em, but even if we did, it's a really easy fold now. Okay, so this is actually not a great flop for ace-jack. Okay, we make top pair, okay kicker, but just keep in mind that that's not a super great hand in this game. I'm going to bet for protection though, and I'm just going to give up versus, you know, any raise or anything. And the turn is blankish. I'm going to do the same on the turn. You know, with the price I'm giving him, he can still call with any gut shot, straight draw, or flush draw. I'm going to give up on the river. I expect him to check back his Queen X hands and probably not bluff aggressively enough if he has King Jack, but he does bet, which means he could be bluffing, of course. I guess he could also play something like trip eights badly on the turn. Or he could have ace queen all along, and now he realizes that I'm quite weak, so he goes for a value bet. Not sure. There's a chance I'm being bluffed here, but correct play is probably going to be to check fold until I get more info. Six, seven. Again, this time I'm going to check who's behind me. And, you know, there's no short guys behind me. But given that it's 7 high, I'll go for a small ISO. I wanted to raise to about 16 actually. I couldn't get the slider to work, but, you know, 12 was going to work as well. Just a pretty good hand to have in position in this variant. And he leads. I think it's fine just to fold the flop here. A hand is better than it would be in no limit hold'em. It's still significantly better. But it's still a little bit too weak to be defending the flop here. I guess this guy has at least an ace. I suppose he could have some stuff like Queen King or Queen 10, but yeah, he has 2 pair, aces up. Six eight offsuit, pretty bad hand in this game. I'm going to ISO with a 6-8 for a small sizing because of his stack size, so I'm actually just min-raising here. Again, not a super great flop, although we do have the backdoors. I think it's okay to check the absolute weakest backdoor flush draws. Queen Jack, I'm just going to fall against his jam. Not sure what he's doing, but Queen Jack can't stack off with. Just going to give up here. He has Ace King, which is still a reasonable hand in 6+. But my assumptions are people are going to value hands based on their knowledge of no limit hold'em, which means they're going to show a tendency to overvalue hands. Ace Jack, again, this is probably bottom of ISO raising range. This is not a super great hand in this spot. But we're on the button against a weaker player, so hopefully we can make it profitable. And we flop top pair good kicker, which is, you know, a value bet in no limit hold'em, but it's more of a protection bet in 6+. So I'm definitely going to bet. But it doesn't need to be a big sizing. So I'm going to make about 16. I think 6-10 I'm going to fold. So again, with the Ace-Jack, I'm pretty happy if everyone folds. You know, that's okay as well. Even if we extract value now, it's pretty hard to extract value on the later streets with this particular hand. It doesn't improve that well unless we specifically hit an ace. So same kind of deal on the turn, really. Just don't want to give any flush draws a free card. But I really can't bet too big here because there's just a whole bunch of ways I can be beat in this variant. If I get raised, it's a pretty straightforward fold. Just don't want to give a free card to any King X or flush draw. And now we just check back river. At least we don't get counterfeited by King 9 and stuff because the 2 6s are out there. Yeah, he had trip 6s, didn't even raise. Well, at least we extracted value on the flop, that's one good thing, and we didn't lose too much on the turn with our sizing. So that's fine, the outcome of that hand's okay. Alright, okay, so I guess we better wrap this one up. We'll probably continue this session for part 2. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you have any comments or questions, then just leave them below the video. And I look forward to catching you guys in the later parts of this series. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Good luck at the tables, especially the 6+ Hold'em tables. This has been Weasel for PokerVIP.com in association with William Hill Poker.